Obligatory podcast intro.
Hello and welcome. This is Flipping Pages with Matt and Adam. I'm Matt with my co-host Adam, and this show is where we take all 86 letters of the alphabet, we put them in a cauldron, we each draw a letter, and then pick a comic that begins with that letter. I don't know his, he does not know mine. Spoilers ahead for these two comics for sure, and if you want to say hi to us, stop by Instagram, Facebook, or X. It's the easiest way to get in touch with us. All right, so I'm trying to, hold on.
Yeah, looking.
I'm trying to, like, for real do this. I got V.
Yep.
And you got T?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got V and T.
Yeah.
I
remembered it because of TV. I said, it's TV.
You did say that.
TV, yeah,
Yep.
That's the only way. Because I forget, too.
Yeah.
I have it written down on a chalkboard.
I'll have it on my little notepad and still be like, what did we get?
Yeah.
I don't write the title of my comic here. It's all on my phone.
Right. So, yeah, I got T. I actually had a few here for T, but I ended up actually just getting some individual issues this time of Task Force Z, which is, I know, I'm going to explain it.
Right.
It's a DC comic starring Red Hood. Okay, so before I get into it, I'm going to say this. There's a million characters in this. A lot of them are very, very popular, big-name Batman characters, so most people will know most of them. But there's definitely some characters in here that have been around, but most, like, an average casual person might not know about.
Okay.
So I'm not going to explain a lot of the people. Obviously, of the main characters that, like, people would know, I'll give you a little bit of information on the ones that aren't as popular.
All right.
There's a lot.
And this is the whole team you're about to list off?
Yeah, and it keeps getting bigger. So, like, it starts with, like, I don't know, it's like 4 or 5 people, and then they keep adding people to it.
Damn.
So, like, Task Force Z is, Task Force X. That's Zuicide Zquad. That's Amanda Waller's whole deal. So, this is Task Force Z. In this comic, there's a shadowy figure that's controlling and in charge of Task Force Z. They call him Crispin throughout the first, 3 issues.
Crispin Glover.
Yeah. So listen, when they use that name,
it's just him.
Yeah. So they use that name,
guy.
and then it's like, oh, who is this Crispin guy? I'm just gonna spoil it right now because it actually doesn't really matter. It's Two-Face, and this is in a point in Batman when Two-Face is basically completely reformed.
Yeah, he was a good guy.
Yeah, because he used to be the DA,
and he
went
became
crazy.
Batman for a minute too. Kind of. He wore the suit
White Knight?
Was
he like the White Knight or something?
I
don't know.
I
know what you
he
mean.
wore the suit
I've
once.
heard that.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in charge of this Task Force Z. What Task Force Z is like another version of Suicide Squad.
Okay.
So they use, specifically in Task Force Z, they use the Lazarus serum. They call it Lazarus serum or tar in this. It's not the Lazarus pit. They don't have access to the Lazarus pit.
Okay.
They have man-made, lab-made Lazarus goop, basically. And what they're doing, like in Suicide Squad, they recruit.
Does the Z stand for zombie?
Yes, it does. So, yeah, like Suicide Squad, they recruit criminals. Except their criminals are basically all dead. They give them a good dose of the Lazarus tar or whatever they call it, Lazarus pills or whatever, and it brings them back. But they're kind of like zombies. They're not smart. But what happened was they brought Todd back. I guess they're the ones that brought, or he came back with the real Lazarus. Whatever. Jason Todd, Red Hood, came back, and so he's been through the Lazarus process, but he went through the full process, meaning he's a fully alive, fully intelligent person.
Right.
The only reason, let's say, I'm just going to get into the characters. We got Red Hood, we got Bane, we got Man-Bat, we got Arkham Knight, which is, she's an Arkham. She's a lady.
Oh, Jeremiah's descendant?
Yeah, something.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's actually cool in this. I liked her character because I had only seen that in the video game.
These are all versions that have died?
These are all dead people, yeah. So
Okay.
Bane's dead, Man-Bat's dead, Arkham Knight's dead. Mr. Bloom's there. He's a newer character. He kind of looks like Slender Man with a flower on his face. He's a very weird character. He's one of the ones I am not getting into. The story is so convoluted, even though he has a lot to do with this comic.
Yeah.
So if anybody I would get into, it would be Mr. Bloom. Check him out yourself. He's a cool character. And then eventually we have Mr. Freeze and Deadshot.
Oh, okay.
So like,
that's a cool team.
It's a cool ass team, and like I said, everybody
They're all dumb.
is dead except for Red Hood and Mr. Bloom.
So Red Hood is fully formed Jason Todd,
Yes.
just leading this team.
Yes.
Okay.
He's like was in jail, and he got released by leading this team.
Okay.
That's how he would either way he'd be in jail. Whenever he's like, I don't want to do this anymore, they're like, you don't have to. He's like, cool, and they're like, you just have to go back to prison or whatever. So he's like,
shit.
well, y'all suck. Screw you.
Yeah, that blows.
So like he like lives at the compound at the it's got a name. Halperin.
The Z compound.
Halperin. It's the Project Halperin HQ.
I thought mine was better.
AKA the Chop Shop. That's the nickname for it
Okay,
because
that's
they're
cool.
putting
There we
back
go.
together
Yep.
dead bodies and stuff.
I like that more.
So he lives there because he's like in jail basically.
Right.
So he's walking around. I think they're called the Frankensteins. Lazarus resin is what the goop's called. Lazarus resin. So there's two clone ladies with white hair. They're like the scientists of the Halperin Project, aka the Chop Shop, aka Task Force Z. So you don't find out that there's two of them until a little bit later. Ha, funny hijinks. Why are you looking at me changing? And then seeing her later and be like, did you get a good eyeful? And they're like, what the fuck are you talking
So
about?
it's two white-haired women.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're clones. They have slightly different hairstyles, though. I didn't notice that right away. And the funny thing is, Jason Todd's supposed to be like a smart guy. He's not as good of a detective and whatnot. Or no, he is. He's supposed to be really good, right?
Yeah, he's all right. Yeah.
Okay, but whatever. And like he doesn't notice they have different whatever. I thought that was kind of weird.
Hey, chicks change their hair.
So like we get exposition from the Frankenstein lady, the clone. So her and Jason Todd are speaking. You get the backstory. Oh, you can leave if you want. All that stuff I just filled you in. So this is the beginning of the story. The Man-Bat's flying after a C-list bad guy called Crazy Quilt. Catches him. Like Crazy Quilt actually like shoots him with his like lasers, polka dot things, whatever it is, which is kind of strong. It's like a laser, basically.
Yeah.
So it, like, shoots, like, a hole through Man-Bat, basically. And he goes, ah! And, like, falls off the edge.
My
of the...
only weakness.
Yeah,
quilts.
lasers.
Oh, lasers.
So, and then Jason
Lasers.
Todd pops up in his Red Hood uniform, and he doesn't use guns. He uses his two crowbars.
that's
And they're,
cool.
like, Mjolnir crowbars, basically. They have, like, electric stuff that comes. I hated that part.
Okay.
I hated it so much. Don't know why they did that. No friggin' clue. Maybe because they were like, it needs to be more powerful than a crowbar.
Yeah.
Well, they give him a gun again, you dickholes. Because they kill people in this the whole time.
Right, yeah.
They just kill people constantly in this.
Yeah, they're.
So he's leading a team of zombies. We get exposition from the Frankenstein lady. He grabs Crazy. I missed that part. He grabs Crazy Quilt and brings him back to the shop. And they're interrogating him. He's being a tough guy. And he's like, I'm not telling you shit or whatever. And then they're like, all right, cool. And they let Arkham Knight in. And she's like super zombified. So she's like shuffling over about to eat him. He's like, all right, I'll tell you whatever.
Yeah.
So they find out what's going on. There was a giant Arkham break right before this in continuity, a breakout or something. And a bunch of the people that broke out of Arkham are working with the resin, the Lazarus resin stuff. They don't know it's Lazarus resin yet. Our team doesn't know yet, but they're about to find out, like, in this issue. So they find out from Crazy Quilt what's going on, where they need to go to intercept these drugs or whatever. So they're on their next mission. They're out on their mission. It's like the full squad. Yeah, I'll get to her in a minute. It's a full squad. They roll up to this spot, and like they're in like a warehouse, and they come in, and Jason's like, "Is it cold in here? Like, I feel like it might be cold." And Bane's like, "I can't feel shit." And he's like, "I don't feel anything." And Mr. Freeze comes around the corner, and he's like, "You idiots! Like, y'all are about to die trying to rob Mr. Freeze. Y'all are crazy." As Mr. Freeze and like his whole crew, because he's always got a ton of henchmen.
Right.
Mr. Freeze pays a lot of dudes.
I guess so.
He really does. Him and Penguin, I feel like.
Always got an army around them.
Tons of guys. So Task Force Z is like, we're going to get him. Like, we're rolling in. So they just start, like, murking the henchmen, and they're not really supposed to. Like, they're supposed to try to not kill them.
Yeah.
And they're like, not really all there. Like, none of them are, besides Mr. Bloom and Jason. They're the only ones that are completely there.
Right.
And so they're just like murking all the bad guys, the henchmen, And Jason's keeping stop, you're not supposed to, stop doing that. And Mr. Freeze what the hell, stop killing all my guys. So they have a cool fight. Mr. Freeze kind of messes our team up, bro. He freezes up everybody basically. Yeah. And Jason's the last one left. He's jumping around. He's about to get him, and or he does get Mr. Freeze. He busts his containment unit, and Mr. Freeze is you idiot. It's almost like a nuke, kind of it's gonna the containment liquid's gonna leak out. We're all gonna die. This is your fault. So Mr. Freeze kind of explodes. We find out later he's kind of fine. So I'll say he kind of explodes. his suit pops basically, and it throws Jason back, and he starts freezing into the ground. So he can't move. He's stuck to the ground. And he's oh, it's not that bad. At least, Mr. Freeze is gone. And then Arkham Knight is crawling over with no legs to eat Jason because she's super zombie still. And he's Crispin, he's calling for backup basically. He's Crispin, I need help. I need you to in there. He was no, y'all are it. You're our entire program. We have no one to send. There's absolutely no one that we can go send to help you.
There's no backup.
He goes, I'm going to send, he goes, I can't send anybody. He goes, you need to take care of Arkham Knight, and then you need to go find Mr. Bloom, because Mr. Bloom ran off. I didn't say that. He goes, you need to go find Mr. Bloom, and you need to, wrap up the mission. He's dude, I told you I'm frozen. I can't move. He's, stuck, and Crispin's kind of just no, you have to. You have to. You have
Tough
to do
shit.
it. It's you. It's you. That's it. We see what happened to Mr. Freeze. He's just, bleeding. He's I guess he's about to die. So Mr. Bloom pops up, and he's hey, Mr. Freeze, I can, save your life, and blah, blah, blah. And Mr. Freeze is I'll pay you this and that. And he goes, no, you misunderstand. I'm not saving your life to, be nice or whatever. So he shoves, handfuls and handfuls of the Lazarus resin into Mr. Freeze's mouth. He's not even dead yet.
Yeah.
But he shoves, a ton of the Lazarus. And I guess because he's not dead yet, the Lazarus pills work, really good on him. Okay. So, he's almost like a normal guy.
But still zombie?
A little bit. Yeah, he's not all there yet.
Because he didn't die.
Yeah,
right?
He wasn't dead all the way.
Okay.
But, they in here after the mission, Jason's talking to one of the Frankenstein chicks. He's you need to decontaminate because we don't know what the Lazarus resin blood or whatever's if it gets on living tissue, we don't know what it's going to do. And he goes, you don't? He goes, it's not safe. She goes, relatively safe. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But so they don't even know exactly what it would do.
It's
to
not
living.
FDA approved yet.
Yeah, so Mr. Bloom shoving it into Mr. Freeze, they don't, and they don't know exactly what it's going to do. But what it does is it saves him. He's around. So Jason's back at his base. Bane and Man-Bat and all the ones that basically died are getting brought back from heads. Literal, it was just their head left.
Oh, okay.
And they're getting brought back with the Lazarus resin from a head, bringing an entire body back.
So it's pretty strong.
It's crazy. They can bring them all the way back whenever they want. They
right.
just choose not to make them do what they say.
Yeah.
It's like the bomb in the neck of Zuicide Squad.
Right.
It's the same. Even Jason says it. He goes, it's not a bomb anymore. Whenever he talks to Deadshot later, he goes, I'm on another Suicide Squad. He goes, yeah, kind of. He goes, instead of a bomb, it's a needle. It's kind of the same thing. So Jason's leaving after seeing Man-Bat and Bane coming back from nothing. And Mr. Bloom's always chilling everywhere and being real creepy. During that fight, he was Jason was yeah, take him out, Mr. Bloom, and because he's kind of powerful. And he was oh, this restraint collar, I actually more just a tall, skinny guy right now. I can't really do a whole lot. So he goes, y'all are gonna kind of have to protect me. I can't really do anything. So during the fight, he just wandered off. He just went off. You know what I mean? And I guess he found some of the Lazarus resin, and that's when he saved Mr. Freeze. That's
right.
when he wandered off.
Do you have a reason for doing that?
So yeah, so Mr. Bloom is he was part of this Lazarus resin originally.
Okay.
So I'll get into that. Actually, get in that. But yes, he's integral.
Got it.
To the overall story.
Okay.
So we don't get to any resolutions in the comics that I bought because I only got 4.
Yeah.
So we don't really get to any actual resolution. But
Sweet.
you oh, that's kind of what's going on. In the last issue, they're oh, okay. It's not even the last issue. You find out, oh, he's part of it, blah, blah, blah. There's another one.
I figured he was following some kind of order or something.
Yeah, he's on his own. He's working for himself, but he was being... we'll get to it. So Jason runs into what's her actual name? They say it. Arkham Knight's name. Oh well, I'll see it. Astrid Arkham. Her name's Astrid, and she, like I said, she was one of the most zombie-fied one of them, and she got like blown apart by Mr. Freeze. So they gave her a big dose of the Lazarus resin, and he sees her, and she basically looks like human, back to human, and can talk and apologized for almost eating him.
Oh wow, okay.
Which I thought was awesome. Somebody told her.
Yeah.
Somebody was like, "Yeah, you almost ate Jason." So she apologizes.
Yeah.
Well, I was like, that's awesome. And she goes, I can't say I won't do it again because I have no control. So
yeah.
like, I'm sorry about it, but I have no control. So now Jason's like, that mission was a nightmare. I need somebody that I can trust on my team. I need somebody that's got my back. I need another member of the team. So Task Force Z goes out on the mission to get Jason Todd's backup. The guy that he's like, oh, I need.
Did he pick it, or they were just like, no, we got a guy for it?
No, he does. My bad. They do say it. They don't say it right here, but later they talk about. Okay. He did get a pick. But between only so many people, because they had to be dead.
He had to be dead.
Be able to get them, and their brain had stuff.
Right.
So they're going on this mission. The whole team. The whole team right now. They show up to the spot, and what are they called? The Cobra Cult. Mm-hmm. Which is in
That's
DC.
Cool.
Nah. But they're like
shit.
a giant cult that apparently all these people know. It's like they've been around or something. He's like, oh, it's Cobra Cult. What the hell? Crispin, there's Cobra Cult here. Like, what are we going to do? They're not supposed to be here.
Right.
And he's like, we're going to sneak out. They don't even know we're here. Like, we're going to get out of here. And Man-Bat sees him, and he's dumb as hell. Even without the zombie, he's not that smart when he's in his the bat form or whatever. He sees the guys and just attacks and starts the fight. So Bane jumps out there and just starts ripping people in half, and they're not supposed to, like I said, to kill people.
Yeah.
And like in this comic, they literally rip people in half, like down the middle.
Yeah,
which is pretty crazy.
Like what Bane should do.
Yeah, they show it. Like he's using people's bodies as like whips.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's gnarly. And so they're fighting Cobra Cult, and they're all a little bit back. They got a pretty good dose of the resin. I think this is the one where he asked them. Yeah, he eventually convinces them to up the doses of the resin so his teammates are more effective.
Oh, right.
Even though they're,
because he noticed it with the Arkham Knight chick.
Yes,
right?
he was like, oh shit, she's like there, like she would be useful actually. And so he like kind of convinces him. So in this mission, yes, now they're like they're talking some.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're talking. They're like stunted, weird talking, but they're talking. And so they're fighting Cobra Cult. They finally wipe out all of Cobra Cult, and it's Deadshot. It's Deadshot.
Nice.
So Deadshot's like in a casket. Apparently Cobra Cult grabbed Deadshot, and they were going to do that. They were going to resurrect him and then use Deadshot. So he's like, oh, it's Deadshot. I found Deadshot, whatever. He's here. And then he turns around, and he's talking to Crispin on the phone, and then there's a bang. And Deadshot sits up, and he had just shot Jason in the back with one of his guns. So that's like the end of is that the second or the third issue? That was the end of the second issue. It was crazy. He gets shot in the back at the end of the issue, but the whole comic is bringing back people from the dead. So there's zero stakes.
It's like, okay,
on.
Yeah.
It's like getting a really like broken foot or something. They'll just fix it. You know what I mean? So it's like it kind of takes away a lot of the impact, I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be fine.
Yeah, and so like he shows him back at the chop shop,
right?
Getting fixed up with Lazarus.
Oh man, that sucked when I got shot in the back.
Yeah, I remember that. So they literally are trying to save him normally. Then he dies, and they just shove Lazarus resin into his ear and just inject him.
They just shove it wherever? Because Mr. Bloom was like putting it in his mouth. Any orifice?
Those are pills. Like they had the pills.
Oh, you didn't say that. You said it was goop.
Yeah. Well, the Lazarus resin in its primal form is just like a goop.
I just imagine him shoving tubes of goop in his mouth.
Yeah, no, they make them into pills, and they even give the team some of them when they go out, or at least Red Hood gets them, so he can like give them as treats.
And cut yourself on rusted metal, pop one.
Yeah, giving out like sensu beans and shit.
Oh, nice, right.
So Jason gets woken up with the Lazarus resin. He's laying in bed, and you see like Deadshot like kind of like sneaking up on him, and he's like, oh fuck, because Jason's awake, of course, faking it, and he like turns around and stabs Deadshot, and he's like, you're not gonna eat me, and Deadshot's like, wait, what? Is that something that can happen? And because he's like all there, he's like full faculties, basically. He looks like a damn zombie, but apparently his mental, they gave him enough where
I just showed up like this.
his speech is a little weird, but like he's speaking in full sentences and asking questions.
Okay, so yeah, all right.
So like he's like asking what the hell's going on. They didn't even tell him yet, basically, after they woke him up. So Jason explains what's going on. This is where he goes, you're on another Suicide Squad, basically. Instead of a bomb in your neck, it's the resin. If you don't get the resin, you're gonna die again. He's like,
Zuicide Squad. A Zuicide Squad.
oh my god.
A lot of Z stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
Squad.
So he explains to Deadshot what's going on, basically, and Deadshot's like, they think I want to be alive. He's like, I'd much rather be dead. He goes, I'm not going to do what they say, because then I'll just die. And he was like, that's nothing holding over my head. Yeah, not holding it over his head. And then, like, we get a we get a part where they kind of let Jason out of containment, and they tempt him with one of the workers there, a hot chick, and then she's like, yeah, you're so like brave, and it's cool that you're like, helping all these people, reforming them. They're controlling him. They're manipulating Jason big time. You find that out. That's what's going on. They're manipulating the crap out of Jason, and then we get our first full squad team up with Deadshot, Man-Bat, Bane, Arkham Knight, Bloom, Red Hood, like the whole squad, right? Basically, and they're to disrupt another shipment of Lazarus resin. So they're fighting on these guys. They're just regular henchmen, but everybody besides Jason just starts dying. Basically, everybody's puking up a ton of blood. They're all dying, and he's like, "Oh, it must be the Lazarus or whatever." And they're like, "No, Bloom is dying too. He never had any Lazarus, whatever." And then what's her name?
Because y'all put it in your ears, in your mouth.
Cheshire.
Put mine in my butt.
So there's a chick that's like a mercenary.
Cheshire?
Cheshire, like the cat or whatever. She's got like a cat mask type thing. And she's like, haha, that must be a cool new costume, Red Hood. Or she might call him Jason. I think she calls him. They know each other, She was like, that's a cool costume. I didn't take that into account when I made my my surface poison. And he was like, wait, what? And he goes, you poisoned every single one of your henchmen just to get to us? She was like, they're not my henchmen, somebody loaned them to me, so like I'm not worried about it. And so she starts fighting with him one-on-one. The rest of Task Force Z is on the ground, like incapacitated, so he's kind of getting whooped by her a little bit. I
think she's related to Sportsmaster.
Really?
I could be totally wrong,
Maybe.
but I feel like Cheshire was something to do.
Talks about training with Jason and stuff. Okay. So,
Young Justice.
I'm not positive. Like I said, I did zero research past.
I had a thought. I could be wrong. Tell me in the comments, but I think so.
Yeah. So he's kind of getting whooped by her. He's trying to he gets stabbed and poisoned, and so he's like trying to take some of the Lazarus pills, or it looks like he's trying to take some of the Lazarus. She knocks him out of his hand. Ha! You're not getting any of that. And he's like fighting, kind of getting whooped. He's like, they weren't for me. And Bane pops up. He had eaten a bunch of the Lazarus pills. Nice. So Bane saves him.
Just like flicking them in his mouth while they're fighting.
Yeah.
He's just trying to get it in Bane's mouth. Wake up, you big bastard.
Yeah. So Bane hops up and just whoops Cheshire, and then they capture her and bring her back. And at this point, this is the one where he was able to give all the Task Force Z bigger doses of the resin. Right. Because Bane's like talking to him. He's like, you remember you remember who you are? He's like, yeah, kinda. He goes, you remember what you did? And he starts beating him. Like Bane's just standing there, and Todd comes up behind him and starts just hitting the shit out of him in the back of the head. He goes, you know why I'm doing this? He goes, yes. And he goes, say it. And he said, Alfred Pennyworth. And then he kicks him off like an 80-story building.
Oh, damn.
And it's so they need their head to survive.
Yeah.
So he's trying to completely kill him. They make that a point.
Yeah,
he's
right.
trying to crush his
Kill
skull.
the Alfred. You don't fuck with Alfred.
No, exactly. So like he's trying to kill Bane. He's not trying to punish him. You know what I mean? He's literally trying to kill Bane right here.
Yeah.
So he kicks him off, and he's like, radios back. He's like, yeah, Bane's gone. Pretty sure he's dead. We're coming back. Whatever. So they come back, and Crispin's sitting at his desk, which you still don't know by this issue who Crispin is. This is the end of the third issue. It's Two-Face or whatever.
Right.
He's a good guy now. He's trying to
Call me Three-Face.
Yeah, he's like kind of being a good guy. He's still being doing shade, forcing people to fight. You know what I mean? And so
now.
In this issue, the fourth issue is not mostly, but a big chunk of it is Two-Face and Jason talking.
Is he calling himself Crispin because like half his face got burnt?
So that's
Crisp.
So that's what I started saying the Crispin thing earlier. He looks kind of like Crispin Glover.
Oh, really?
In the pictures, yeah. I'm about to get to him. Let me see if I can find a good one. It just reminds me a little bit, maybe just because his name is Crispin.
You just associated it?
Yeah.
Dude's got a rubber face. He's crazy.
Right. But so, like, a lot of this is, this issue is, you finally start seeing what's kind of going on with Mr. Bloom. You find out that he was involved in this original resin, Lazarus resin project. This Chop Shop Halperion or whatever is a offshoot of an original Lazarus project that was better funded.
Right.
Was the original one. They had Mr. Bloom captured and were using him because he's like a scientist. He's like has cool powers. He can like make drugs and I don't know, all sorts of stuff.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. And so they had him part of the original program, and then he like escaped or whatever, and then he basically got captured again by Two-Face. So what's happening, this whole thing is Task Force Z is like a spinoff of a spinoff of a spinoff.
Yeah.
So like there was another another project trying to do the same thing.
Weird.
And then you see some people and you're like, oh, this is another Task Force Z because they're in the spot where the other project, the original project is. But you find out in this comic, they're not working together. That's a Zuicide Squad that is working for Waller or whatever.
Oh, they show up?
And then so it's like a three-way fight. There's the original Lazarus resin people, which has a few of the Frankenstein chicks because they're clones.
Right.
I think the original chick worked at the original Lazarus resin. Mr. Bloom originally worked at the Lazarus resin thing. And what was I saying? Oh yeah. So like I said, they start fighting this other squad, a three-way fight. Yeah. And so it's funny. Like this whole part of this comic is funny. You get to kind of see what's going on with Bloom. You get to like see that he's really is sneaking around doing all this shady stuff. You find out that he's part of the other project. But seriously, big chunk of this comic is just Jason and Two-Face talking. Almost half. And then as Jason's leaving, friggin' Batman shows up.
I was waiting for him.
Batman's like, you're done. And he's like, what? And he goes, I let you do all this stuff. I told you to go do all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. So they're like, of course Batman had, I knew about it. I was told Jason to go along with it. Whatever. Dumb Batman logic. And Batman's like, no, you're done, blah, blah, blah. And Jason's like, no, I'm going to stick this out. It's kind of like silly, like cliche.
Get home now.
Yeah, it's like kind of a cliche. And they do a cool little fight against some just like muggers. Some muggers like come out of nowhere and they're the most unlucky muggers in the history of the world.
Yeah, really.
And they come on to Batman and Red Hood. So there's a cool scene of them.
Who would have continued to try and rob them?
Yeah. They saw them and were like, maybe they're like cosplayers or something.
Yeah, I guess that would be your best hope.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, like I said, we saw the cool little thing with Batman and Jason, and then Jason goes back to the Halperin project, and that's where the three-way fight happens. I mixed up the chronology, but at the end of this little story that I'm getting at is the three-way fight, and then finding out that they're the second resin project, that they are not the original, that they're the spinoff of the spinoff, and they're like barely even approved of. They technically don't even have government approval yet.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to prove that they should get government approval.
See?
Yeah.
See what we did?
Yeah,
we should
basically.
be a real thing.
So they're like trying to replace Waller, basically.
Oh,
Even though
right.
Waller's not really doing the Z,
Yeah.
the resin project, she has her normal.
Yeah, just criminals.
Normal, yeah,
Just not
exactly. She's
messing
like,
with
why
dead
would you
people.
Why would you add the dead people? Well, you add the dead people because entire bodies can get exploded, and then you can bring them back to life with just
True.
their head.
It is convenient.
Also, they can get stabbed. Like Arkham Knight, she gets her entire bottom half of her body blown off, and she's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I get the appeal.
As in right away fine, not as in later when they give her resin. She almost eats Jason. Like at the beginning, whenever Jason gets frozen and Arkham Knight's crawling over to eat him, she's got like no lower body. So
Yeah,
that's like
okay.
unstoppable
Yeah,
soldiers.
zombies, yeah.
Yeah.
Thinking, fighting zombies.
So the end of the issue is the cool little three-way fight standoff thing, and that's the end of the fourth issue.
You just said third.
Fourth, I meant fourth.
Fourth issue.
Fourth issue.
All right.
So there's 10 issues in this arc. Let me make sure. 12 issues in this arc, so it went a year, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's a Task Force Z2, which I think also has 12 issues.
Oh, wow.
So I read a little past where I talked. Oh, no. I bought the 4, and then whenever I liked it and I wanted to read more, I went online and I tried continuing it a little bit. So I got a little bit further, and I'm gonna finish it. It is cool. Like I said, I got like 1 issue or 2 issues past, so I don't know a whole lot more, and I'm not gonna get into it because
Right.
nothing gets wrapped up. If it got wrapped
No,
up soon, I would finish, but it doesn't really truly get wrapped up. As far as I can tell, it's like the 12th or 11th.
Yeah,
issue or
because
whatever.
if they either do the short arcs, that'll be like
2
5
to
or 6
4 or
ish. Yeah,
6, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it seems like they go for an overall
yes,
giant
this was a much
storyline.
larger.
I hope it gets
storyline.
better because that was not very interesting.
So there's so
come
many
on.
characters. The interactions, because I didn't give you shit for interactions or
no,
dialogue.
it's fucking 8 people.
Yeah, I didn't give you any of that. So all the dialogue in this story is. So the writer, I don't think I said the writer's name is Matthew Rosenberg, and the art is Eddie Barrows.
Mm-hmm.
I did like the art. It's pretty standard DC art, but very serviceable.
Right.
I enjoyed it. All the characters had a slight little, their own little flavor, a little bit.
When did
Especially
it come
Batman. I think 2021. Like I said, I literally did.
Really?
Yeah.
Hold
like,
up, let me see this art.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
See, look how Batman looks.
Dude, I thought this was gonna be like
90s
80s or 90s, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's very recent.
I was not seeing.
Yeah, no, that's why you've
2021
never
art.
heard of any of this shit. Is because it literally just happened in comic book timeline.
Yeah.
It just happened.
Just happened.
Yeah, yeah.
No kidding. I thought
It was either 2021 or right before 2021, something like
not
that.
80s or 90s.
Yeah, exactly. I did like the art, but the writing, the mandate of the overall story, not great.
Yeah.
The execution of scene to scene, very well done.
I guess if
I
we do
enjoyed
our.
it.
Well, okay.
I truly enjoyed it. Like I
Nice.
said, I'm going to keep reading some of it.
Yeah.
I only found the first 4, but I was like, I'm gonna read a little bit further. It's cool, dude. Like, I don't read. I know we said it before. I don't read a whole lot of DC, but I enjoyed it, and I'm gonna probably. I know I'll finish the first arc. I don't know if I'll read
Right.
Task Force
Go to
Z2
Z2.
and super fast. How are the faces?
Mm-hmm. It's DC.
It's DC.
I mean,
It's exactly.
once you told me it was 2021, I could pretty much guess how it
Picture.
looked.
So like the only difference.
And that's not a bad thing. We're not talking
No,
shit.
it
It's
looks
a
very
big company. They have a style.
So, like, the style of the art is DC, extremely DC, but some of the costumes are a little off of the regular DC
Okay,
style,
that's cool.
Which I liked. That was really cool.
Dude, that's so weird. I'm really like
It threw you off
The
with the time
2021
thing.
spun me, bro. Because
Yeah.
I was like, look, I pictured just the storyline you laid out in front of me sounds like an 80s, 90s storyline.
The overall, like, whoever was like storyboarding the like overall story, which
Mm-hmm.
probably was not. I don't know if people know this, but the like writers only have so much input on the actual story.
Right.
They're like kind of given like, oh, here's an idea of what we want you to do. That's how it usually works. They'll be like, here's an idea, and then you need to write about something to do with this. This one seemed like they were like, hey, this is what needs to happen. make it work.
This
And
has to
this
happen.
guy, the writer, Matthew Rosenberg, I enjoyed all the dialogue. There wasn't an over amount of dialogue. Everything got expressed well.
Okay.
I
so
liked
the
it.
the conversation between Two-Face and Jason was good?
Yeah, it was. It was very entertaining. Jason's just like, obviously you're still a bad guy. And it's just him Two-Face being like, no, remember I used to be the DA. Like, I went crazy, blah, blah, blah. But for a while, apparently, and at this point in the story, he's been a good guy for a while.
He has been a good guy.
A good guy as in he's not doing evil guy stuff.
Right.
He wasn't a superhero or going out. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
This
yeah,
is him. This is what he keeps explaining. This is me trying to give back. He goes, I can't put my face out there.
Yeah, I can't go be DA again.
Yeah, exactly. He goes, so this is my way of giving back. It seems like he's being sincere.
No, there was a time in remember that Batman Rest in Peace stuff I was reading? There was a time a little after that where Two-Face was good.
Yeah.
He had that whole comic at the end of Rest in Peace where he's like, I will be the Batman. And you're like, what?
Right.
You?
Yeah.
And then I think at one point he talks to either Dick or Jason or Tim. One of them fuckers is in the bat suit and he's like, I remember when I wore it, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Wait, when the hell did this happen? So
Yeah.
apparently,
Oh,
he has gone good, but like you said, we don't read DC very much. All right, man. Well, I also got a DC as well. And so I got a Vertigo comic. So Vertigo is like the Danger Zone. It's just like more hardcore comics, right? I think Watchmen came from there. And then eventually V for Vendetta was in there. So they've been around. They got rid of them. They're not around anymore. And that's why they're all part of the DC. Yeah. So in 1993, they had this Vertigo Vision series. It was like a self-contained, like one-shots featuring characters from the DC universe, right?
Okay.
So I just had bought this one and started reading it. I didn't realize all this.
Oh, okay.
So it's called Vertigo Visions because I got V.
Yeah.
And that's on the book itself.
Yeah.
And it's called Phantom Stranger. Now, I didn't know this because they do no, like, referencing, commenting on, hey, Superman's out there.
Oh, okay.
So, like, they don't talk about anything like that. So I didn't know if it was the same guy. So I did a little research, and yeah, it is the Phantom Stranger from DC.
Okay.
So I didn't know it was one-shot DC stories. There's like 6 of them.
Yeah.
And they did Phantom Stranger, the Geek, which is like some character from like the 50s.
Yeah.
Dr. 13, Tomahawk, a bunch of old school characters that aren't around anymore.
Yeah.
And they revived for this Vertigo Vision shit, right?
Okay.
So Phantom Stranger, he popped up in like 1952 as well. And he showed up in 52, and then his last issues were in 2012, and they made it to issue 22 before it got canceled. He's been in a bunch of shit, apparently. I looked it up. He was in Batman the Brave and the Bold. He was in the Swamp Thing show that DC made recently.
I watched that. Oh.
The Swamp Thing. Not the movie.
Yeah.
And not Man-Thing.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, the old Swamp... Not old. The
like
when they tried to redo it, they did a horror.
2016?
It's 2012.
It was 2012. Yeah, it's kind of cute chick, and she goes out there, and Swamp Thing's barely in it.
Oh, 2019. Sorry.
Barely in it.
Yeah, they did that. But yeah, he pops up in one of those. He's in a few video games. He has his own DC showcase, The Phantom Stranger. You know, they do those 15-minute shorts where it'll be like Green Arrow, and it's just a DC showcase. It's like a 15-minute story. They did a Vixen, I think, or Bumblebee.
The animated one?
Yes, they're all animated. Yeah. So I got this one, Vertigo Visions, Phantom Stranger.
Cool.
When you open the book, when you look inside, it says Gerontion.
Oh my God! You were saying that earlier with no context.
I was just chanting it over here.
What the
Gerontion.
What? What is that?
It's Gerontion. I don't know what it means.
What's the name of? Like, what's it for?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying.
It's just a giant word on the page with zero context.
The cover is this: DC Vertigo. Phantom
normal
Stranger.
Looking.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but when then you open it up to the page, it says Gerontion.
What the?
And then down here it says written by Alicia Quitney, Kwitney,
Uh-huh.
Quitney, And then illustrator by Guy Davis.
I was gonna say maybe the artist is Gerontion.
No.
But no.
I think that's just what they called it, apart from Phantom Stranger. Maybe the name of the story is Gerontion.
Maybe it was supposed to say Generation or something.
You always think people fuck up. They don't. They just
do.
made this dumb thing part of the comic, I guess. All right, so anyway, it starts with this old man looking out the window. He's narrating some yada yada nonsense. It's this young black girl. She's walking up to like this crazy mansion.
Okay.
Super huge, a lot of ugly, crazy statues everywhere. And the guy's narrating about how when the residents of this house don't have structure, they get bored, and how boredom can be super destructive, right?
Okay, yeah.
So she knocks on the door. This guy named Ash, he's one of the orderlies that work there.
Okay.
He answers the door, and he's like, hey, welcome. He's like kind of hitting on her. And he's like, listen, our manager left. And ever since our manager left, it's been pretty crazy. One guy died, and for like a week, no one knew he was dead. So he's like, that's pretty wild. We hope you can help. So he starts giving her a tour. And like he said, it's just been a madhouse since the manager left. She's looking around. He makes a comment about how the house is crazy. And it's like some like gothic horror statues kind of decorating the house.
Oh, dude.
Sick. Like,
those aren't huge, like they're small panels each, but that's very, very good. Well done. That's impactful.
Oh, and this came out in '93. I remember that just
I knew
for
it was
you.
a little while.
Yeah, you could tell it's
yeah.
older. So
Okay.
I'm not a fan of these 90s comics, but this one, pretty cool.
Yeah.
So Ash starts leading her around, like I said. He's kind of hitting on her. She makes a comment about it. He introduces her to Millicent. And it's this girl, this old woman sitting in a bed. And
Of course
he's like,
it's an old woman.
She used to be... She used to be running around, working up her blood pressure. She had to be put on new medication, so she just kind of stays in the bed. And she's a model patient now.
Okay.
Naomi, who is the black woman, the main character, she walks in and she was like, when was the last time Millicent had her hair washed? And he's like, oh, we'll give her a good delousing in the morning. And she gags because in her hair's like maggots.
Yeah.
And there's like worms and shit crawling all over her face. So pretty bad. So then he takes her to the next room and introduces her to Elba Benchley. And it's this woman sitting in a bed with just like food wrappers and half-eaten stuff just everywhere. And there's rats and roaches and just a big fat woman sitting in bed watching TV, just gorging on junk food and stuff. And he said, oh, we had to put her on a special diet, and she's just like, hungry. She just says that. So they go to the next room, and he's like, hey, if you want to lay down, take a rest, you can. He's like, there's a big empty bed down there. So he's still kind of hitting on her. And again, she like makes a comment about it in her head. Yeah. And then she's like, what about this room? It's room 3. He mentioned something about, oh, he's the worst one. And he's like, not on your nose, not on any faculties in your head or on your face or anything. But he's like, yeah, it's in your head. He won't shut up once he gets going. And a handsome devil is the most dangerous.
Nah.
And the narrator comments on how it like struck a chord with her. She's like, oh, an attractive devil. He's like, women love that shit. So she's intrigued and she's like, let's go in. So when he goes in, it's the old man we saw at the beginning of the story watching her walk up to the mansion. And they do some good back and forth. Like they're chatty. They got the gift of gab. They're impressing each other, making each other laugh. And all he says is, a warning then will suffice. You have entered unknowingly into a crossroads. And he says, there's a few encounters and a grave decision awaits on your... grave decision is the outcome that we wait for you to make this grave decision, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
Right? That's what he says.
All right.
Something like that.
I got you.
I didn't quite... Such as few encounter, a grave decision awaits upon whose outcome, and then the picture cuts off. So
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have been able to say that. That's like a stroke sentence.
It was
say
difficult.
it one more again.
It was difficult.
Please,
Okay,
for me.
Such as few encounter, a grave decision awaits, upon whose outcome, and then he says something else.
Okay, that's not as bad as I thought it was the first time, but
It's a
that
lot of commas.
does not flow.
It's 3 comma statements there.
Does not flow, that's for sure.
It's definitely like a little old school.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely weird.
So Ash is like, listen, I'm heading out for the night. He's all dressed up, ready to go. He's like, I can stay if you want me to. And she's, no, thank you.
Yeah.
She makes this comment about, she's like, I like desolate places. I used to hang out in graveyards and shit. So she's a weird kid. All the other kids thought she was weird.
Well, this dude was being weird already.
Everything's weird
Yeah.
in this house.
Yeah.
The patients are weird. That dude's weird. Ash is weird. It's
I'd
crazy.
rather be with the weird patients than a dude who's out and walking around that's weird.
Yeah. That definitely comes off. There's something strange here. So she's chilling by herself. She finds some wine. She's listening to the radio, and then she talks about how she can feel eyes upon her.
They had wine in the house?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, she...
I
So-
worked in a group home. If there was ever, like, cigarette butts left out front, I would hear about it.
Oh,
Like,
really?
It was a thing, yeah.
Why?
Because
they
it's
just-
not supposed to be doing any... Like, I had allotted cigarette breaks, but it was, like, once a night or something.
Oh, right.
And then also, you're not supposed to, like, expose any of the clients to anything negative. You're not even supposed to get mad at them. You're supposed to call somebody and, like, switch out with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you're not... Like, you basically have to be perfect.
Yeah.
So, like, if somebody would, like, drink a beer while they were working...
Right.
Like, the government... I'm not kidding. Like, the government might show up.
I mean, Ash told her, he's like, listen, you're in charge. And the only reason you need to come up to all the patients' room is if someone dies. Other than that, they're good.
That's why there's rooms and they look like that.
Yeah, it's just the manager's gone and they just need help running it.
Yeah.
She doesn't have
They
to
can't
do
do
any
anything.
of the, like, super crazy, monotonous day-to-day stuff.
Yeah.
She just kind of got to run it for a minute.
Okay.
Till this manager comes back,
I get it more
right?
now, yeah.
So she's sitting there chilling, listening, and she's drinking. And she talks about feeling eyes upon her. She mentioned it happened when she was a kid, too. She looks out the window, and she sees our phantom stranger just staring at her.
Cool.
And he puts his hand on the window, and he looks like he's screaming, but he's not making any noise. So he looks like a ghost. He's got a dope-ass hat on.
Oh, damn.
A G-ass suit.
Yeah, it's
but
just
he's
black
all
and white.
White and black, exactly.
Yeah, that's cool.
So she freaks out. She calls the cops. And then when she looks, he's gone. Mm-hmm. And then the old man she had met earlier is standing behind her. He, like, touches her on the shoulder, and she turns around. And she's like, there's a guy outside. She's freaking out, and he's like, don't worry, it's my son. They look, and he's out there again. And he's like, my son's not all there. He's here to save us. And she's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Real, like, fanciful, flight of fancy type talk. Like,
Yeah.
oh, he's here to... And she's like, what?
Yeah.
What are you talking...
They're
like,
in a home, so she's not going to take it 100%.
Yeah, this
as
dude
it's
might be out of
serious.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
But she sees him. So regardless,
yeah,
she's
that's
still
true.
like...
So there's some... Yeah.
She is like, all right, this is crazy. Like, get back to your room. And he's like, no, that's my son. We need to let him in.
Oh, no.
So he walks to the door, and
Dude's
he's like,
scary looking. I wouldn't...
can you open the door for me? And then she was like, I must be the deranged one. So she opens the door. They go out in the rain. Now, this old man and this ghost are about to hug. The phantom stranger and this old man, they're about to hug. And then this old woman named Molly comes out, and she's like, oh, real quick, there was a part where she remembers the smell of this stranger. Something about the pine, and there's another spice in there. She can't recall, but she remembers smelling it when she was young. So she flirts with that quite a bit. So as they're about to hug, this woman named Molly comes out. And she's like, get back in here. You're crazy. What are you doing taking him outside? He's senile. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And she's like, but I saw someone out there. She's like, no, you didn't. Just come on with me. You and the old man, y'all are both coming with me. So as they're walking down the hall, the Naomi starts like, Jesus Christ, this house is gigantic. Like, labyrinthian.
Yeah.
Like, I never knew houses could be so large on the inside and only look so big on the outside, right?
Oh, yeah.
So wandering around, they turn around, the old man's gone. So Naomi's alone with this crazy old woman, and she's like, this is the rest of the staff. Let me introduce you. So, I mean, just some ugly characters, bro. So she introduces her to Caleb Holt, a butler who was like doing stuff with bodies. Creep. Elba Blanchley, which is the fat lady
Yeah,
that
I
was
was gonna-
upstairs. She's now dressed as a maid. He said she's one of the maids around the house. Millicent, the woman with maggots in her hair.
Yeah.
She used to be a headmistress, and she castrated all her pupils, basically, so no one ever had kids. They're all evil pieces of shit. And then there's this Ashley, who is a chauffeur. Now, she's about to tell him about...
A lady driver?
No, a dude named Ashley. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, and he was like, don't tell her all my secrets, ma'am. And so they start cooking food, and now Molly is like, she starts, oh, you're going to want to eat with us, right? Millicent's like, you should stay in your quarters, leave us alone. And Molly's like, no, she's going to eat with us. One of the, I think Caleb says, perhaps the girl believes in those invisible germs. And then Molly gets like truly upset. And she's like, oh, the nerve of those health inspectors coming around the front door, asking to see me and follow me from one place to the next. First demanding a sample of food, then the muck from the chamber pot, saying it was myself who made all those families sick. She was like, I nursed them. So basically what you find out, Naomi looks down, sees her food. It's all maggots and worms and stuff. And they say, oh, look at her face. She's so shocked that her dinner is being served by someone famous. And Molly is Typhoid Mary.
Oh, nice.
And she's the cook. So
Nice.
she's like, yeah, no, I'm not hungry. I'm good. I'm gonna head on out, get back to work. Molly tosses all the food over everybody, spills it. And these dudes just go crazy. They get up and they start chasing her.
Uh-huh.
They're all covered in maggots and nasty stuff, and they start following her. See, look, that's the panel. You see what I mean?
I like that art.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do.
It is good art.
I
It's
like
cool.
the 90s stuff.
I
a
did too.
lot.
I'm not a huge fan of it, but every now and then I'll catch it and I'll be like, cool. I like the way this looks. I like how rough it is in some parts where their faces will just look like scraggly lines.
Squiggles. Yeah, so I had tea. So I almost did Typhoid Mary once.
Oh, shit.
She had a few that I
Was
could
there
have
a
done.
DC Typhoid Mary? Because it would have been this old lady.
Yeah, it's
Maybe.
yeah.
There might be. There probably
it
is.
was that one. It was because it was all old stuff. So I thought it was. I didn't pay attention, but I guarantee you it was DC and not Marvel.
Might have been.
I bet it was.
So she runs away. All these nasty staff members, basically. So she runs upstairs. She gets into a room. She comments on how the door looks strong, so she's safe. She's about to light a cigarette, and the stranger shows up. And then she sees the old man again. And she's like, all right, stop lying. What's going on? I see him, and then I see you. What's happening? Mm-hmm. So she's like, let me see your eyes. Show me your eyes. So he takes his hat off, and he has these blank white eyes. And then she's pointing a cane at him, and he touches it, and it turns into a flower. And then she's like, oh, you must have just burnt your hand. And he's like, no, I'm a shell of my former self. I had a little power, but it's now expended. In this place that we're in, evil lies beneath the skin, and the sins outlast the flesh. We are among the damned, Naomi. We are in hell. So he tells her that there's 7 layers of earth, and then below that there's 7 layers of hell. Okay. And that in one of those layers there was a house. And in that house, basically, real quick, I got ahead of myself. In those 7 layers of hell, Lucifer, Satan, the devil, he left.
Yeah.
He left. He was like, he went AWOL. And they didn't know what happened. So the manager of this house, she went out to go find out what happened to Lucifer. Uh-huh. Now, in this, greater hell basically came back to order. Everyone, when Satan was gone, everyone just started going crazy.
Okay.
Started partying, they were bored. Again, the boredom comes into it. They start doing shit. So hell retains some order eventually, even after Lucifer, once he comes back. The house didn't hear that Satan's back.
Okay.
All the house knows is that their manager is still gone.
Okay.
So they start going crazy. So we find out that Ash is a demon. All those people are demons. They're just bored demons.
Yeah.
They want to play the sick patients.
Okay.
And then the cook goes, "Oh, let's fuck with her. Let y'all be the staff." And now, whoa, we're the staff.
Yeah,
and now we're going to mess with her here.
All right.
So that's what's going on.
Yeah.
They need a manager. There's no one there. He explains to him that everyone's a demon. And he says there's only 2 ways to command the damned here. The manager could do it with the word. The other is this book of punishments. Okay. It has all their names, their medications, what they should be doing. If you recite it, you know, we can put everything back the way it should be.
Okay.
So she goes to reach for the guy's hand, and when she touches it, she sees herself falling through all 7 layers of hell.
That's dope.
And then she comes back and she's like, I tripped. What the fuck was that? And he's like, it's a garden of deceits. It may tempt. It will suck the marrow from your bones. And then she's like, so all of us, everyone's a demon except for me, you, and the ghost guy. And he was like, yes. She's like, I don't believe you. I think I'm hallucinating. I'm tripping. She's very hesitant to the idea.
Okay.
She turns around and there's a hand that comes through the door, and all these demons are now like featureless.
Okay.
Like they're just kind of blank. You can still see it's them, but they don't have hair. They don't have breasts. They're just
like a
husk.
partial sketch.
So when she turns around, she's getting attacked by these demons. When she turns around, she sees the phantom stranger. Dude's just standing there, and she's mad. She's like, why won't he help? Why won't he help? And then she realizes, oh, he's waiting for me to make a decision. She reaches her hand out, and then he sticks his hand out. And then the demons go, oh, we're neglecting you. So they all attack him. And he's sitting there holding the book. So she starts actually fist fighting these fucking demons. It's actually cool. She's punching the shit out of him. She runs up to the stranger. He grabs her hand and holds it up. They all start going blind. Their skin starts melting. Their eyeballs melt. And they say they can't see you, but they can still smell you. So they're still looking for him. So her and the stranger just bust out. They get out of the room. They're walking. She's like, there's like dungeons here now. I can hear people moaning, screaming in pain.
I was gonna be like, what's the deal with everything else?
There's so much shit going on in this house. The orderlies, those 5 demons she met, are just a small bit.
Yeah,
there are people getting banged and tortured and all types of stuff down there. So she's like, all right, now I know you're lying to me. You were there. I turn around. Next second, he was there. I turn around again. You're back. Talking to the old man.
Yeah.
So he basically says, all right, he's not my son. He is, I'm the flesh of him, and he is my spirit, basically. Okay. She's like, did you sell your soul? And he says, no, it was ripped out of me. I can't leave this house until we are joined together, but I can't join together until I leave this house. Okay. Right? So he can't go anywhere. He can't stop the demons. The phantom stranger can't do it because they're short of power. They need each other to do anything.
Okay.
And they can't leave without being together.
Yeah.
Right? So in the house, they also can't join. They have to be outside, which is whole crazy nonsense, right?
Yeah.
So he tells her that, can't rejoin. The longer apart, the weaker we become. So she looks up, she looks into his eyes, and this is where she remembers that she saw him before. Very confusing part that earlier they say something, oh, the old man had seductive words, and she had been seduced by a man and then became pregnant. Here they say, like, they go, long ago when Naomi was a child wandering, so old, the memory is so old that unseen eyes upon her. So she's talking about the stranger when she was a kid. His touch is not that of flesh at all. Once long ago when Naomi was a child wandering, the scent of pine and dust and unseen eyes upon her, then she became pregnant. So that's how they said it the other time. But they said, I've been seduced by words before, then she became pregnant.
Yeah.
And then they say this. And then they continue saying his touch is not flesh at all. And then she wakes from a nightmare and she can't remember.
Okay.
So I don't know if they're saying that the Phantom got her pregnant or she just saw him when she was a kid, which I do get that.
I feel like it's that it kind of feels like to me that she, like, he's seduced by the words. She's saying she got pregnant as in she did what he said, or
maybe
followed what.
But she also said she was a child when she saw him.
That's why I'm saying the part
so
where
he said
not
something.
A physical pregnancy.
Okay.
But his words and his ideas and thoughts got impregnated into her brain.
I mean, dude, there's a panel right here where she's holding her
Literally
belly.
pregnant?
Literally pregnant.
Well, that looks like ancient times, right?
It does.
So
maybe. I mean,
it looks like it.
They have these green drawings for like flashbacks.
She's supposed to be.
but-
I bet that's Mary.
What?
It's Mary.
What do you mean, Mary? Her? She's Mary? Okay.
She got pregnant from a being with no flesh.
I mean, the Phantom Stranger? Okay, maybe.
No, not, maybe.
Maybe. So, Naomi is now walking down the hall by herself after this crazy flashback.
Yeah.
Remembering when she was a child, all that. So, there's a bunch of patients, and they're like, where are my pills? Where are my glasses? There's a cool part where she's like, your pills are coming, your glasses are on your head. I'm not Claire. She doesn't work here anymore. Basically takes care of everyone in one breath.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
So she's walking around. She finds more wine. She's about to drink it, and a cop shows up. And she's like, oh, yeah, fuck, I called the cops. I forgot about that.
Okay.
So the old man pops up right behind her because it's the Phantom Stranger now.
Yeah,
He's just two sides instead of one coin.
He's not together.
Exactly. So he's like, don't go to him. All right. I'm going to just warn you. This gets fucking weird.
It's already been weird,
No.
but not like
No.
But not like, oh, this sucks weird. It's just been
Yeah, it's
kinda
just weird. Yeah.
yeah.
It's a horror story. Obviously, there's a lot of elements to it that are gross and scary. But this gets fucking weird. Okay, so she goes up to the cop, and he was like, you should have listened to him. I'm a demon.
Mm-hmm.
So he pops his hat and his glasses off, and it's Ash. He goes to kiss her, and she bites his tongue. Cool. And then he's freaking out. He's bleeding, so he starts reaching into, like, his belt area. And she's like, do you think he's about to pull out his gun?
Yeah, where's this going?
He rips all his clothes off. He pushes out his stomach, and then his umbilical cord comes out.
Yeah.
And then starts chasing them. And as the umbilical cord is coming out, he is changing. He is turning all bald and baby-like and very gross looking.
He's Benjamin Buttoning.
He's literally shrinking. So, like, he's got a baby head.
He's Benjamin Buttoning, 100%.
Yes, like within seconds, though.
Yeah.
Within seconds.
Yeah, it looks cool. It's
So,
in 3 panels.
The umbilical cord wraps around her. She's talking about how she could feel it pulsing. He's shrinking as he's floating and chasing them. Oh, so fucking weird. The Phantom Stranger ends up cutting the umbilical cord.
Okay.
And at the top of the stairs, when it gets cut, he's like full upper body and then little baby legs, like when Deadpool blew up.
It looks funny.
So the umbilical cord's still sticking out.
Yeah.
He's flying towards Naomi, and when he lands on her, he just lays on her lap.
Okay.
And then she even says something like, did you hear his wallows? Did you hear his screams? He sounded like a child.
Yeah.
I actually felt sorry for him.
Uh-huh.
So they're still sitting there. He's laying on her legs, and he gets up and he starts fighting the stranger again. So Naomi finds the book. She grabs it, and he's about to kill the old man. And she's like, I'll trade you the book for the old man. And he's like, that's fair, whatever.
Right.
So she throws the book up. She grabs the stranger. Now Ash, that's his name. His actual name is Osmodeus. But he's standing there on the stairwell, butt naked, holding this book. And he says, like, we could have gone away together, just you and me, gone anywhere you wanted. So they take the old man outside. He hugs the stranger, and they become one again. And then he kisses her. He kisses Naomi, and she has a scent of pine and dust, and she remembers who she is. Hell is a garden of deceits. You see the stranger, and someone's tapping on his shoulder. When she turns around, you see Naomi in nice clothes with her hair done. She's wearing pearls. She's smoking. Ash is behind her, looking out of the door, and she says, hello, stranger, long time no see. And he says, I am sorry. And she's like, are you? That's nice. But my name's not Naomi. It's Nama, the manager of this infernal house. So she was the manager that left. Her and the strangers had things going on for this whole time. She didn't want to leave Ash because that was the baby that she had, which could be his. I don't know.
Right.
So basically, yes, that's her job now. She's like, I'm going to stay here. And one day, Mr. Stranger, you're going to stop traveling. You're going to become too old and you will be back.
Okay.
That's how it ends.
Okay. So yeah, very weird, but it doesn't go so insane that you can't explain it to
The
somebody
baby
at least.
shit was weird, bro.
Yeah, but you could at least explain
I mean,
what's happening.
you-
Not explain what you could...
Right. You like horror, so that to you probably would be like, yeah, it's kind of weird. But to me, I was like, ugh, man,
it's
come
not
on.
that bad.
I don't do that too much. So I thought it was very strange. It was a fine read, like not a fine read. It was all right.
Yeah.
Like definitely not my steez, bro.
I did like the art a lot.
Yeah, that was cool. Oh, I'll do the segment.
faces.
How were the faces? There was very few characters, so the faces were great. There's a lot of moments where it's very expressive, like wide open faces, like making a disgusted face or something.
They looked all right.
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah, that was our segment. How are the faces? So the Phantom Stranger, bro, like he doesn't have a name. No one knows who he is, where he's from, his powers, nothing. He might be a de facto member of. Wait, what does de facto mean?
You are part. It's you 100%.
Oh, he's like a secret member of Justice League. They're like, they asked him to join, and then he disappeared before answering. So they're like, yeah, maybe. Yeah. So he's never really been part of it. I'm sure he fucks with the Spectre because they're both very.
I would be shocked if they did not.
He's up there, man. Like I don't know how strong he actually is, but I just know he is one of the like big mysteries of DC. No one knows who he is or anything. So it was all right, man. I mean,
it's cool. I thought it was cool.
It was a fun read. I might do some more of the Visions. That Tomahawk one looked interesting, or the Doctor Occult. That might be cool. So if I get V, I might run back to those real quick.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, it was cool. Okay, so since you got DC and I did DC kind of, let's do some DC. So this is our segment, Matt versus Adam. It's where we take a character generator online and we see who would win between the guy, gal, or monster, alien, whatever that we get.
Sometimes it's like a mineral or vegetable or all the options.
Angels, stuff like that.
Whatevs.
Yeah. So we have normally Marvel, DC cartoons and video games, but since we did a accidental DC episode, we'll just do DC.
Yeah, might as well.
You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
You go first.
I always go first. So it's someone we already got before. I'm not even gonna say who it is.
Skip
okay,
it.
Cool.
If we've actually done it before.
Let me see.
That's not a good sign for the random character.
I got Blue Beetle.
Did you? Oh, thank friggin' God!
I know it's like a whack ass Iron Man.
Thank
kinda.
God. He's cool.
No, he's cool, dude.
He's cool, but not super strong.
No. Oh, who'd you get?
I'm gonna win, but goddamn.
No, you're not. No, you are not. Oh man, this isn't cool. All right, so he got Batman. So this is Blue Beetle versus Batman.
So before you even start arguing,
what the fuck?
I would say Blue Beetle in a one-on-one fight with Batman should win most of the time.
Okay, yeah, but he won't ever because it's Batman.
Because it's Batman.
And if he shows up in his comic, they're just gonna work together. I feel like Blue Beetle should spank Batman, bro.
Usually, I would say usually. You want to do our percentages? I think that's the best way to explain this.
You know what? I'm fighting for me on this one, bro. Because normally I'll be like, yeah, this is you.
Yeah.
I really think this is Blue Beetle, bro.
No, Blue Beetle. Like I said, just because it's Batman. And he would win sometimes because Blue Beetle isn't all powerful.
No, he's not.
He's definitely not. He is a very powerful character, but Batman's literally fought like Darkseid and shit, and not died instantly.
You're right.
Like Batman, like I'm saying, we need to do the percentage thing. So even if one of us wins, that at least we understand that it's neither way is going to be a blowout.
No, it's definitely not.
And but I think it's super close, if not your way.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd be willing to coin flip it with you.
Oh, you want to do another coin flip?
I would 100% be willing.
Oh,
let's do the percentages first. What do you think the percentage of you winning?
Yeah, but see, look, you got to consider. No, I know, I get what you're. But we got to consider that, like that thing you always say. If it's a hero versus a villain, the villain's stronger, the hero will find a way.
Yeah.
So this is in Houston, a 2-block area in Houston.
That's why I said you would.
That's what I mean.
You would probably take it.
But I have my suit because it's a scarab that's always on me.
Always on you.
So, I mean, all right. I got armor, flight, wings, technopathy, scarab sight, absorbing energy, superhuman strength, agility.
Yeah.
artificial intelligence tracking systems, clothing manifestation, weird. Translation, armor reconfiguration, vibrational frequency manipulation, expert combatant. So when you take Batman into account, what does he have on his fucking belt?
Yeah, well,
like he's no prep time for this.
A quarter of probably what he has on his normal bat belt.
Because he's just getting coffee.
Yeah, but you're saying because Blue Beetle's thing is on him all the time.
You can't get rid of it.
Exactly.
It's part of him.
Yeah,
it's like fused to his shit.
I mean, Batman could be undercover having a coffee I'm not saying he'd have something crazy. I'm saying just his regular bat uniform in.
That's what I'm assuming.
On him.
He can pop in the alley. Boom, Batman comes out.
Cowl up, belt on or whatever.
He's got his belt. He's got some shit.
He's always got something.
What you're factoring in, what everyone factors in is not just prep time, but because it's Batman.
Because it's Batman.
If you did Superman,
I try not to do that in this.
That's
argument.
what I'm saying.
That's why I was so willing to coin flip it. Because if anything, I would think you would win most of the time.
That straight
by
one-on-one,
a tiny bit.
No comic nonsense.
Yes.
Blue Beetle wins.
I remember his superhuman strength isn't crazy. He was grabbing cards and being like, oh, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so all his power, he can shoot a lot of pulses. You know what I mean?
Right.
A lot of pulses out of his laser arms.
It does say superhuman though.
It is.
Obviously just that means more
than a human. Yeah, exactly.
And Batman is peak human.
Exactly, and this wiki and whatnot that and all this they're pretty good about describing it correctly.
I feel like they are.
They are pretty good about it. I mean, like I said, the whole thing isn't done by one person, but yeah. So I would be willing to flip it, or I just would give it to you.
No,
I think
I don't want to flip it because when you say all right, it's Blue Beetle versus Batman, you're even saying percentages in actual fight 1-on-1, Batman should never win that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because he's superhuman, because he has armor and stuff. He'll win because he's smart. Yeah. He'll have a gadget,
something he can.
But
do.
in actuality, Blue Beetle pulls a gun out and just straight through his chest.
Yeah, what we keep explaining is you give Batman the edge because he's Batman.
Yes.
But that's almost part of his power as well, so that's why I kind of factored in with Batman.
And when I get it. Yeah, that
he doesn't have any real powers.
He doesn't. When we fought other regular people, Wacko versus the Ghost, it was no chance.
Yeah,
he's a regular dude.
Yeah,
we don't do that with Batman.
No,
we're like, oh, he'll find a way.
Because he's technically not just a regular dude either.
I mean,
my guy was a Ghostbuster. That's a regular dude.
Batman
trained with everyone ever.
Trained, yeah. I mean,
and he's basically Captain America. So Captain America can do some crazy shit, and Captain America doesn't have the same access to the same shit that Batman has.
No, but he has super strength. I think Captain America would smoke
Captain
Batman.
America has ultra peak human strength.
Yeah, I mean he's stronger. So, he was way faster than Black Panther.
That's just how they describe it.
Them three, Bucky, Black Panther in his suit with the flower, and Captain America were outrunning cars.
So it's power creep as well. Yeah. So Captain America back in the day was just
like that.
A super good. He was an Olympic athlete in every way,
just
shape,
strong.
or form.
But this is armor.
This is new.
This isn't like
I said,
armor.
I'd be more than willing to give it to you because I think more than half, definitely more than half.
It's like when you say Superman versus. Now I know he's not as strong as Superman, but when you say that, it's like Superman. Obviously, You're talking about lore, legacy,
access to power in general.
Yeah. Like in actuality, Blue Beetle should gun.
Yeah, like I was saying, he does a lot of those pulses and lasers.
Right. Which a normal human would probably just get fucked up by.
Yeah. If Batman wasn't wearing his costume under whatever regular day clothes he was wearing out. But whenever they're there, we don't say they're wearing their day clothes. They're wearing their whatever they
we assume they're in their outfits.
Their normal outfit.
Yeah.
You just don't get access to more shit.
Yeah, like we did Powerpuff Girls. She doesn't have anything. No armor is power. So we did something. Ben 10 we said
he had his
his
Omnitrix. He would have to have the Omnitrix.
Yeah, because otherwise it's just you beating up a kid.
Exactly.
Or your character
But
beating up
so
a kid.
I would say you won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to
I
argue
agree.
the fuck out
no,
of that.
like I said, I wanted to get that out immediately. Because,
Yeah.
like I said, I think I try not to do it's the hero, so obviously the hero gonna win.
Yeah, because my
I hate
brain
doing
kept
that.
wanting to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I was almost talking myself out of giving it to
But
Batman.
with Batman, like I said, he's one of the heroes where that is kind of his power.
Like you said,
Is
he's
being
fought
popular.
Darkseid. He's fought Lex Luthor in his
is
power
being
suit.
popular, so they make him be able to do whatever.
Yeah, he's invincible, or invincible freaking, what is it, plot armor.
Yeah.
He's got plot armor.
Exactly.
It's
It's like Wolverine or anybody. They're popular, so they're
He'll
everywhere.
find a way.
Yeah.
But you put any of these, I feel, superhuman or superpowered beings against Batman in real life, he's not dodging, hiding, but
true,
that
true.
fool's dead immediately.
You know what's funny? I feel like if it was like a Punisher first versus the Blue Beetle, a Punisher would come out more.
I feel
than
I could
Batman.
argue more for Punisher than I can for Batman.
Because Punisher might see him and kill him before he gets his full costume,
or have
on,
guns tough enough to
big
deal with
enough,
him
bad enough
that he just had on him.
Yeah, well, because in those comics where he stole all the villains.
Yeah,
The glider, oh dude, that was amazing.
it was cool.
And then
it
he
was
got
super
the War
cool.
Machine.
So yeah, I would be more willing to argue for Punisher than for Batman. He's a regular
too.
dude. He only has so many gadgets. How many times can he block a pulse beam or fucking whatever from Blue Beetle?
exactly.
He's like a little Timu Iron Man, bro.
If power scaling was correct, it would.
I would smoke you.
Yeah, every
100%
time. Every
of the time.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah.
But my brain, like I said, I wanted to, because who he is.
So
Top three for me, I'm like,
integrated,
no,
yeah.
Batman wins.
Yeah, right.
But you put him in a comic book, yeah, he fucking wins.
Yeah, of course.
But walking out of Starbucks in downtown Houston, he gets smoked by Jaime Reyes.
Yeah, hell yeah, he would.
Shouldn't have done that accent.
It was accurate until you said something.
Yeah, I
about
always do that. All right, so we are on Instagram, Facebook, X. Come by and visit us. There's new episodes release every Monday on all podcast platforms and YouTube. And if you've best way to support the show is to like, subscribe, rate, review, all that internet stuff. So if you've done that, we appreciate it. And if you are just listening, we also appreciate that.
Yep.
So that's the episode for this week, man. All DC.
DC episode.
Yeah. Yes, sir. 15-15.
I liked mine.
We're
a
tied,
lot.
bro.
Oh, it is. It did
50.
tie. I thought you were one down still. After
No,
that
I was. Yeah, I was before I
Now
just
this
won.
one?
Yeah, so
Nice.
I'm 15-15.
Well done, dude.
Caught back up. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Who was that character that you weren't gonna say? Who was the first one? That
Oh, it
we'd
was
had
Larfleeze.
before?
Larfleeze.
Oh, we'd had him before.
Which,
yeah,
if I got that, I would have won.
remember.
But you would have
Yeah.
had Blue Beetle.
yeah.
But
Larfleeze
we
would
already did
destroy
that.
Blue Beetle.
He would.
He would completely, absolutely decimate.
It looks
Blue
like I was
Beetle.
destined to win either way.
Right. Yeah, basically.
All right, so yeah, that's the episode. Y'all have a good one.
Bye.